Hello everyone, today I'm here to talk about whether or not you should apply to university. I'm going to be telling you my story as well as like 5 kind of tips to help you choose whether or not you should go to university. So the 5 tips that I'm going to be looking at are you in love with your course? Have you looked into alternatives? Can you afford it? Can I handle it? Where should I go? Firstly, I always knew what it was that I wanted to do when I came to university. Ever since I was 16, my teacher and I had a really good bond, and Mr. Young basically made me fall in love with media and film. He knew that I was really interested, and I guess he could see the potential that I had in it, and so he would always push to excel me. There was a lot of stuff that he was teaching me at GCSE that I am learning now as an undergraduate, and so by the time that I came here, I was fully in love with the subject and knew that it was exactly what I wanted to do as my line of work. I should also add here that I didn't and I still don't know what it is I want to do afterwards. If you pick a subject open enough, then you will be able to kind of choose a different path. What I mean by that is, for example, a film production student won't just learn lighting, they will also learn how to be a director, how to do sound, how to edit. So they've got like a few different things they can pick into like as a speciality almost. If you're really interested in a subject and you don't quite know what you want to do, try and find a course that opens it up for you. But then at the end of the day, if you want to be a pharmacist, you're going to have to study pharmacy, and that's, you're going to have to do that. So I suppose my first tip, and it's the biggest tip that I tell everyone, is that you have to be fully in love with the subject you're learning. At the end of the day, you're spending a lot of money and a good wad of time studying something, so why would you not study something you are interested in, you're in love with? Tip number 2 is don't straight away think that you need a degree to get into the job you want. Do some research into what it actually is you need to get your goal, and you may find out you don't even need to come to university. There may be some sort of apprenticeship or some sort of like training that you can go to. So now people are probably thinking, but Chloe, you don't need a degree in film to work in film. That's true, but my end goal is to do a master's, so come at me. So tip 2 is basically just to do your research. You might be able to find alternatives to university. At the end of the day, money is a very important factor when it comes to university. We are somewhat lucky enough to be given money from the government in order to attend university, but you do need to work out how much you're going to get and whether you can afford the university. For example, I basically get next to no student finance, and so I can't afford to pay my rent. Luckily enough, I've got the best parents in the world and they send me money every week so I can afford to eat while I'm at university. However, I still can't afford my rent, so I've had to get various jobs throughout the 3 years or save or work a lot over summer so that I can afford to be here, as well as just having like a decent social life while I'm at uni. You need to look into how much student finance you're going to get, and that can be done by going on the government website. Just type in student finance on Google, go onto the government website and they can do estimates for you. You need to look at how much rent is going to be in places, how much food is, how much activities are, whether or not you can actually budget, as well as like there might be additional costs, like you might need to buy books, you might need to buy materials. All these things you're gonna have to work out, because at the end of the day, I really wouldn't recommend coming and you don't have the money, because I've been in a situation before where I didn't think I had enough money and it constantly plays on your mind, and honestly it's awful. If you find out you can't afford university, however, that doesn't mean you still can't come. Say for example you take a gap year, work the year, save up all your money, boom! So if you can't afford university, you can come at any age, so just save. Do you think you can actually handle coming to university? It is such a change going from being 18 and your mum cooking your food and doing your washing to all of a sudden still being 18, but you've got to pay bills, you've got to pay rent, you've got to make your own food, you've got to buy your own food, you've got to do your own washing. So like, do you genuinely think you're going to be able to handle such a big change? Because I do know people that haven't adapted to the change, so it might be worth thinking about whether or not you can actually do it first. It may be something that you gradually have to move into, so maybe you don't feel mature enough to be at university at 18. Fair enough, wait a few years, like it's fine. Can you be away from your family? I am around 170 miles away from home, and that is very far. It is hard at the beginning, of course, being a first year and adapting. I found it harder this year than it was first year. I don't know whether that's because there's a lot more work to do this year, everything's a lot more stressful, or I've just been away for too long. So you need to think, can you be away from your family from such a long time? Can you be away from your dog for so long? Because I miss Blue so much. So these are just things you need to think about before preparing yourself to go to uni or preparing yourself to apply to uni. The last point that I wanted to make was what university you should go to. So I'm going to try and do this chronologically to how I did it. Firstly, it's going to sound really stupid, but find some universities. Other than Oxford and Cambridge, I didn't really know there was loads of other universities. There are particular parts of the country where universities are that specialise in subjects, for example. Is there a part of the country that you've always wanted to live in? Like, say you visited Bath and you really liked it in Bath. Why don't you go to University of Bath? You need to think of these kind of things when applying. So great, you found yourself a university that you really like. Do they actually have your course? I can't tell you how many times, especially now that I'm looking into doing a master's course, how many times I've fallen in love with the uni, looked for the course, and they don't even have my course. Okay, so you've got the university and you've got your course. What are the entry requirements? Do they match your predicted grades or grades that you think you can get? We got recommended for your first choice aiming for a tad higher than what you kind of predicted that you know you can work for, and then the second choice go a bit lower, so just in case you don't get into your first, you can get into your second. So you've got your university, you found your course, you think you're going to be able to get in, have a look at the course breakdown. On most university websites, when it says, for example, film studies, it will tell you year by year, module by module, what you'll be studying. So have a look and make sure you look at all 3 years. Because say for example you have a really good first year, but then your second and third year are really things you're not interested in and you're not going to enjoy. You've got to look for the future as well. So you've got your course, you've got your university, you can get in and you're raring to go. Again, I'll have to go back to the last point, is can you afford to go? Look at how much accommodation is. You basically have to look at accommodation. Talk to your parents whether or not it's easy for you to commute, where it might be worth you staying at home. It might be worth you getting a house share. There might be family up here that you can stay with. Or you can just go blind-eyed like I did and live in halls with 6 random strangers. You just need to talk and research your options. So overall, whether or not you should go to university, I have absolutely loved the experience here at the University of Wolverhampton. I am so nearly finished and I can't believe how quickly it goes. But you need to be in love with your course. That's probably my biggest tip. There's no point studying if you really don't like what you're studying. I think that's all I've kind of got to say on this topic. So congratulations, you've decided whether or not you want to go to university, and if you do, trust me, you're going to love it. 3 years flies by and I wish I could do it all over again. So make the most of it. See you guys next time.